What is going on, squad? Today I'm going to be breaking down how to launch and scale your practice and get to 10K per month in under 90 days. So let's get after it. First thing I want to talk about is my own failures. The reason I always have this slide is because I don't want you to think that I'm some sort of like special snowflake or I got some sort of incredible ability or I'm really, really smart. Truth is, I'm not that smart. I forged all of my parents' signatures on report cards growing up. I failed gym in high school when all you had to do was literally show up in your uniform and do the sport. I just never showed up with the uniform, and sometimes I didn't show up. I barely got into college. I was in academic probation twice during undergrad. One time for art history, and again, you're just really talking about what your opinion is of the art, and I couldn't do that. And another time during Chem 101. I had crippling anxiety and depression that literally left me bedridden for almost a month. All I did was get out of bed in order to use the restroom. I ate a little bit, probably lost over 10 pounds, and I just watched Seinfeld. I choked for my first ever public speaking gig. I got rejected from almost 20 plus physical therapy programs. I got waitlisted for the one interview that I got, and I never really read a book until physical therapy school. And even when I graduated from physical therapy school, I flared up my very first patient as a provider. So I share that because I want you guys to know that I'm no different than you, and chances are our stories almost start the same exact way. This is me graduating from the University of St. Augustine in the Miami, Florida campus back in August of 2019. And this is me working on a weekend with one of the best clinics in New York City at the time. I always say one of the best because I think now your boy is the best. Our team at Moment is top notch. But I used to work at a premier clinic here in New York City I worked my ass off at that clinic. By the time I left, I was seeing 35 to 40 one-on-one sessions per week. I did two semi-private barbell groups that included four 1.5 hour sessions. I managed 75 athletes online, and I scaled the kettlebell training program to two different tiers, 75 people. I believe everyone's paying about $100 per month. So generating a lot of revenue for this clinic. I wrote blogs. I rebuilt the website twice. I took sales calls. I networked. I even did youth athletic development at the time because we took over this massive lease and I needed to make sure that the clinic was going to survive. And it's just in my nature. Anything that I'm a part of, I want to make sure that it's the absolute best. So I worked my ass off. We would film exercise library videos like this on the weekends. I would upload all of them onto YouTube myself during off hours. I'd be up until 12 a.m. doing programs, writing blogs, and just doing anything to make sure that the clinic would survive and thrive. And here's what it led me to, right? You're probably wondering why is there a picture of my wife Christy and this amazing barbecue? Moment started at a barbecue restaurant in Austin, Texas called Terry Black's. And if you're unfamiliar with Terry Black's, it's a very popular barbecue restaurant in Austin. We were there almost 4 years ago. Nowadays, it's very mainstream. It's become like the Times Square of barbecue restaurants. But back in the day, it's probably one of the most recommended ones for us to go to, that and Franklin's Barbecue. But these barbecue restaurants are crazy. There's like an hour wait to get in. Christy and I finally got in, and when we ordered the food, I thought I was going to be so hungry that I was just going to literally dive headfirst into this meal. But once we sat down, I legitimately had two or three bites, and that was it. I just remember taking this picture of Christy, going for some of the beef rib, which literally looks like it's part of a dinosaur, and these amazing sides. Two to three bites, and I was good. And that's a problem because if you know me, you know that I am someone that literally vacuums food like it's nobody's business. It was such a weird thing that Christy literally looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" Because normally I am just like eating and not even breathing. I'm just stuffing my face with stuff. But I told her, I was like, "No, like I'm not feeling right." I took a few more bites and I was like, "Hey, if it's cool with you, can we pack this up and just go back to the hotel? Like, I don't really want to be here anymore." Christy packed all the food up and she met me outside because I left the restaurant first. And the reason I left first was because I was pretty much on the verge of tears. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just crying and I just said, "I just can't do this anymore." At that time, when we went to Austin, Texas, it was for a friend's birthday weekend. And during that birthday weekend, it was the first time that I got to like not actually do anything work related for 2 years. I was focused on building so much here. And most of the time, especially that time, pandemic, we weren't really taking vacations. So all I did was just work. And I told her I was burnt out. The final straw was when I was about to leave, instead of hiring Christy to be a part of the team, they hired two other people. And I thought, why am I working 70 to 80 hours a week to build a job for everybody else but the person that I love the most? And that's when I realized I needed to make a jump. And I told Christy, this is it. Like, I can't do this anymore. We're going to create a practice. We're going to build something ourselves. And that's when we launched Moment. When we got back to New York City, I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell Ryan, my old boss, a month later. And it ended up being every single day I went to work, it was 3 weeks, then 2 weeks. And it literally became the next week. And it became the next week because I literally fell on my face. I was riding a city bike and it was an e-bike and I hit this thick wire on a curb because there was outdoor dining in New York City. And I literally flew a couple of feet in front of me and boom, land on my face. And I got home that day and I was like, that's it. That was a sign. I've got to make moves now because at any moment in time, life can end. And I just want to make sure that I'm living life on my terms. So within the following week, we started Moment. And I had no idea what the hell we were doing. I remember sitting on my couch, reading about what entity we needed to form, and falling asleep within 15 minutes because it was the most boring thing ever. I would rather learn about biomechanics, plyometrics, training, how to scale rehab, anything but should I form an LLC versus a PLLC versus a PC? What kind of tax strategy do we need? None of that excited me when we first started Moment, but we had to figure everything out day by day. This is us shooting content after work hours, building out an exercise library. I saw this scene way too often, working 12-hour days, getting in at 7 a.m., leaving at 7 p.m., and just taking this picture, being the first one in the gym, the last one to leave. And there are moments that I was just overwhelmed with pride, like us getting our first batch of t-shirts, wearing your own logo. It just really is, it's a feeling you can't describe. It makes it feel so real. And opening up this package, putting on a Moment tee was like, it felt symbolic. It felt like we made this drastic shift in our life. And I want everyone to potentially feel that pride wearing their own logo at some point in their life. And then this is a clinic that we started out of in the basement. It flooded and flooding was bad, but it forced the gym owners, our good friends Ryan and Albert, to actually think about what they wanted to do with the space. And they said, "Hey, if you want a room, we could build you a room." And that's when we put up a wall that fit a treatment table, and that's where we scaled for the first 3 years of our business. We had me, Christy, and two full-time physical therapists, and we just had a 100 square foot room, and we utilized the gym floor like this, and it's all we needed. Now, Moment Physical Therapy is a standalone space in Midtown Manhattan, right next to Fifth Avenue, which is one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the New York City area. We have two satellite locations, one in downtown Manhattan and also one in Long Island City. It's no longer Christy and I. It's Christy and I. We have 6 physical therapists on our team, one person that does sales, one person that does admin, one person that manages our DMs, and one person that helps us with our social media. So it's a full-on team, a full-on operation. And we've been able to scale from just two kids figuring it out that had a panic attack at a barbecue restaurant. Within 3 months of starting our practice, something happened I never thought would happen that quickly. I filled up my schedule and Christy's schedule. We had 30 sessions each within 3 months of starting our practice, which was insane. And the reason why we were able to have that success was because we were really good at what we did. Before starting my own practice, I invested so much money in education. And my goal was to be the best I could be and make sure that every single person that walked through our door got the outcomes that they wanted. And that allowed us to grow fairly quickly. When we needed to hire somebody else, I had no idea what to do. So I ended up starting an education company and mentoring other students, mentoring other new grads, just seeing if anyone would be interested in what we do. We've now mentored over 340 plus providers, and about 80% of the people that we hire come through Moment Education, which is an amazing experience. We've been able to travel the world to teach our seminars. So I never thought I'd do that. And I definitely never thought that I do what we're talking about now, which is Go Getters Coaching. Go Getters Coaching started with Christy and I just helping some of our mentees privately. They kept asking us to coach them in business, but I would send them to other groups. They would either get turned off by the sales process of other groups, or they would join and feel like they didn't get that many results or get as good of a result as they wanted. And it wasn't until this past year, in the beginning of January 2025, where I messaged my friend Peter. At the time, he ran a 7-figure practice, and we were scaling ours to 7 figures. I was like, hey, I need your help. We're building something really cool. We've been privately mentoring 12 people right now, but it's going to be bigger and I just don't have the capacity to scale. Do you want in? And Peter joined last year, January 2025. And since then, we've consulted with 52 businesses in 2025 and scaled 4.5 million in revenue. That number is drastically increasing now in 2026. So I'm estimating either double or even triple that number of revenue generated. But it all goes back to one core philosophy. And I always have a quote prior to any presentation that I do. And this is a quote from Steve Jobs. My philosophy is that everything starts with a great product. You cannot build a really good business unless you have a great product. Otherwise, you're not going to have customer retention and great lifetime value. Our goal is to make sure that you are skeptical and you understand that what we're teaching you is things that we utilize every single day. I'm not a business coach that doesn't actively run a business, right? Myself, and Christy, we run Moment Physical Therapy Performance, and we're actively scaling it. Peter, he runs his own practice, and he's actively scaling it. And we have legitimate patients like this that leave us reviews that are satisfied with the services that they paid for and interacting with our business as a whole. So this patient said, I've been struggling with chronic back pain for years, but when I suffered a severe injury in April 2025 that left me with a significant bulging disc, I knew it was time to seek professional help again. After trying 4 different physical therapists, I was finally referred to Andy, and it's been a game changer. Over the past several months, Andy has completely restructured my workout routine, introducing dynamic stretching and strengthening exercises that not only helped me recover, but made me feel stronger and healthier than I have in over a decade. Every exercise he assigns is intentional with a clear purpose behind it. He even records demonstrations during our sessions, then follows up the next day with videos and a personalized check-in. On top of that, he maintains a detailed, regularly updated spreadsheet with all of my exercises and a reference video so I can stay on track with proper form. Andy's level of care is exceptional, meticulous, thoughtful, and truly individualized. He not only treats the injury, but supports the person. I couldn't recommend Andy at Moment PT more highly. We have over 200 plus 5-star reviews. We've worked with over 1,000 patients, and Peter's got even more, right? Peter's got 500 plus 5-star reviews and worked with probably over 3,000 patients. All that being said, I want you to be skeptical, and you can look up our businesses. You can actively put in and submit a request, right? Get evaluated, and go through a full plan of care. It's very seamless. You can do these things, and it's literally look these pages up and you can see all this information because we actually exist. Most coaches will just say something about things that they've done in the past, like, oh yeah, I've done this for X amount of months. It's like, yeah, but you don't actively run a business anymore. Or like you make these claims, but you don't actually have anything to show for it. We run actual businesses, and the things that we do change every single quarter, and it definitely changes every single year. And there's so many people that have joined Go Getters Coaching where they were stuck at a certain revenue range for an extended period of time. And it's because they've been relying on old tactics, tactics that might have worked before the pandemic, and tactics that might have worked before, AI has become a big thing, especially with the marketing engines and the things that we're creating in-house with our agency. So yes, I want you to be skeptical, but I know that if you browse and look at all the things that we offer and all the things that we've been able to build, you'll be happily surprised with some of the things that we've been able to accomplish. There's nothing to hide. I myself personally am super skeptical. Before I make any decision, I'm always researching people to make sure that one, they've actually done what I wanted to do, and two, there's a ton of reviews and testimonials to show that they deliver on the outcomes that they say they deliver on. So this is Katie. Katie was with another group for over a year without much results. And this is what she had to say in our Slack group. After a year of hovering around 3K most months, I finally broke the 10K threshold. First month in the double digits with 11.3K, excited to get more organized and my systems in place to keep this up. And then she highlighted her February wins, which was, first month in the double digits. First true client that reached out that wasn't from word of mouth, workshops, or social/ads, sold on a package and paid in full. Started Go Getters Coaching and already seeing a ton of value and things I can implement. March focus. Get all my systems and drip sequences in place for lead follow-ups, 3 events planned for this month, and planning events for a month of April. Have another 10K month and quit my per diem job. If we go to the future, Katie says few wins for the month. First month going all in on my business, quit my per diem. Second 10K month this year. Made the equivalent of 2024's gross revenue in the last 3 months since working with GGC. This is officially 1 year in business and settling in my new location in a new city. So I'm showing you that because I want you guys to know that everyone has had the same story, right? We all graduated from physical therapy school and we're all capable of launching and scaling a practice. But most people are not prepared to start a business right after school. And the reason why is because you need to be really good at what you do so that people are actually seeking you out for physical therapy services. If you're currently in a clinic and you're not getting any word of mouth referrals, you probably should focus on getting better at your craft. You don't want to start something if there's no demand, and you can gauge how much demand there is by how many people are actively coming in saying, "Hey, I need to work with Andy." So, why your product matters. There's really two things, right? We have a competency issue and an exposure issue. If everyone in the world knew about what you did, would you be rich? And if the answer is yes, then you have an exposure issue. But if the answer is no, then you have a competency issue. It doesn't matter if you do more marketing or put yourself out there. You're actually not good at your job. You should focus on getting good at your job first and exposing yourself to the world, right? Because everyone should know about what you do, especially if it's valuable and it's going to deliver something that is not yet done within your local community or in your local city. But what happens when you nicely package shit, right? If you're not good at what you do and you put a package around it, what happens? Drum roll, please. Do-do-do-do. It's still shit. So that's why so many people that we talk to, we always try to make sure that they feel confident clinically. Because if they don't feel confident clinically, if they haven't delivered world-class results and people aren't asking for them specifically by name, they're going to be packaging shit. And if you're packaging shit, it's still shit. And I share a story because I've had people from other business groups attend the Moment Education webinars and ask me how to do an assessment and ask me how to how to confidently pitch their plan of care. And I'm like, these are all things that you should have known prior to building a business, right? If you're not confident with your assessments, then what are you going to do when you launch a business? Because when you're launching a business, you really have to develop the business fundamental skills. So our goal is to help you refine a lot of those things and then input all of our sales and marketing so that you can be an absolute savage. But if there's a lot of catch up that needs to occur from an assessment, training and rehab perspective, work on that first. And we just call that putting the cart before the horse. So if you have people referring to you, then you know you're valuable, right? There's a signal there in a sense that, like, hey, you've given my friend an amazing outcome. They recommended me to this clinic to see you specifically. If you're delivering value, then people will start to seek you out. And people start to seek you out, there's a demand for what you do. But you can't sell something if you're not confident in it, right? Most people that start a business way too quickly out of school, they have no idea what's possible. They haven't seen enough evaluations from evaluation to discharge, right? They haven't taken people from A to Z yet. So they can't speak with conviction. My goal for most new grads and students is get your reps in, make the mess ups, tinker with stuff, create a framework, and get really, really good at what you do prior to starting a business. Because you don't want to create a business if your product is not where it needs to be. So where do we go from here? This is Charlotte. Charlotte went through our Moment Education program, was an absolute savage, but Charlotte said, finally hit the 10K I wanted, ended March with 12K. Just 3 months starting my own thing while juggling all other part-time jobs that's literally more than full-time hours. It's so crazy to think because I remember talking to Peter Yu at the Discovery call, and you asked me what I'll be happy with, and I said 5K per month. And you said, how about 10K? So it's been great. Also, finally decided to cut some hours working down for other people in April. Fast forward to April. Couple wins for April, but mindset for me is the biggest win personally. Hit 12.5K, still a PR month for me. Getting better at setting boundaries and knowing when to say no. Meeting a shit ton of new people in the community, group classes, run clubs, and grabbing coffee with them outside of the activities. Love the relationship I'm building. Also wanted to share this to whoever needed this. I was talking to a patient of mine who has a really successful, luxurious travel company. I asked her, was she ever nervous about starting her own thing? She should have told me not because I just knew I'm going to make it. That shit was powerful. Honestly, lit up a light bulb in my head. So hopefully this message can help you in this chat. But you don't need much, right? This is the bare minimum to launch. You just need a facility to train and rehab people. You need liability insurance and you need a way to collect money. There's a lot of other things that you can do, but I'm just giving you this example because when Dylan joined, Dylan was a student of mine at Moment. He went through our mentorship program as well, and then he joined GGC. Dylan said 30K in March. Having grown up here, I had a ton of success with the cold calling and texting everyone on my phone, telling what telling them about what I do. Shout out to Andy Fitachamp for pushing me to do that because it was uncomfortable and awkward as fuck. Dylan, within the first month, he just had this. He didn't have everything else. And he was able to scale to 10 to 15K per month without it. And the cool part is Dylan is probably the most successful person that I know that has scaled a practice within the first year. This is what Dylan has to say since working with our team for a full year. Today marks exactly 1 year in business. So when he started his business, he also started GGC. Without a doubt, the hardest year of my life. Everything from sitting in an empty treatment room for hours questioning why the fuck I started this business to seeing 196 patients in 1 month. After the most brutal 6 month stretch of patient care I could have put myself through, got a new PT starting this week and SDR starting in 2 weeks. Made more money than I could ever imagine. 540K in the last 2 months. He went from 0 to 540K with our team. Burned myself out more than was probably safe, which happens if you're literally a solo provider generating 540K. Open a second location, close that same location, then reopen that location in a 6 month span. Made a choice to sacrifice a lot and to go all in to see what was possible and probably wouldn't have it any other way. Learned a lot, ready for year two. So you already know that what we do actually works. And it's not just 10K, but you can scale to something very, very significant. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm someone that can go all in. I don't need just the bare minimum. I want more stuff. I did all of this within a day, right? Formed a legal entity, built a landing page and a website, created bank accounts, finished a brand and logo, especially with something like Canva, got Google Workspace so that the email didn't say, Dr. Andy at gmail.com. It said Andy at momentptp.com. And then we created an intake system. You can utilize Intake Q, PT Everywhere, or JNAP, but all of these things are things that you can set up literally within a day. Now, here's an overview of what your patient cycle will typically look like. You're going to do some marketing, and with that marketing, you're going to get a prospective patient. That prospective patient is going to fill out some sort of form. If you have a website, they'll fill out the contact us form. If you just literally have a way to submit a form like JotForm or even Google Forms, you'll have that. From there, you go into a discovery call. If they're the right fit for what you offer, you offer them an evaluation, and in the evaluation, if you can actually help them get a long-term outcome, you're going to sell them a plan of care. And with that plan of care, after you fulfill on it, you'll either discharge them or you offer them continued care as long as they want to continue to work on performance stuff. And our goal is always ask for a referral, and that's how you start to generate money. Now, there's four main rocks of business. There's the fulfillment side, and there's marketing, and there's sales and operation. But fulfillment, you guys are probably good, right? Because if you're a physical therapist, and I harped on the fact that you need a really good product, the product is the fulfillment side. What you really need to focus on is the marketing, sales, and operations. Now, with marketing, there's not a lot of things that we can do. We have friends and family, there's word of mouth, there's local marketing with workshops and injury screens, there's one-on-one relationships with trainers and small business owners, there is social media, SEO, paid advertising, collaboration, and then you could do other sort of forms of marketing. Now, the main ones you're going to be focusing from that 0 to 10K stage is going to be friends and family, word of mouth, local marketing, one-on-one relationships, and social media. All of these things are free. And as you start to generate a lot of revenue from this, we can start to utilize that revenue to do things like paid advertising, which makes lead generation way more predictable. But within each of these steps, you need to just be dialed in with your flow, your script, and your offer to maximize marketing. This is Jeff. He joined our group. He said he signed 9 new evals, potentially 2 more off injury screenings at a local festival. The injury screening script and pricing paid off big time. Super excited to see how the month plays out. So if you come prepared for every single marketing event, you're going to be able to squeeze the most you can out of those marketing events. But if you don't have scripts and proven things that we've utilized for years and years to generate leads, you're going to fall behind. Now with sales, you need to track 3 of the following, right? You need to know how good you're at from getting someone from a discovery call to an evaluation, then an evaluation to a plan of care, and then plan of care to a continued care. Your goal should be to have scripts and frameworks to track each of these. You cannot sell the same way in each of these phases, right? Because when you're trying to get someone to come in for the evaluation, they don't know who you are yet, right? They don't know what you're capable of doing. So that requires a different script. Likewise, when you go from an evaluation to the plan of care, you've now worked with this person for the full hour. You can pitch them in a way that allows them to want to continue to work with you. And we have specific scripts for this that have allowed our mentees within the GGC community to literally convert at clips of like 80 to 90%, which is what we're looking for. And you cannot sell the same to every individual person. You have to understand how to handle objections as well. So this is what it looks like. It's actually it's pretty easy to implement because we dialed in the process with thousands of calls. And this is Nevin when he joined. Just use and follow through with discovery call script with a cold lead. Book an eval and had a smooth, engaging conversation. That thing is fire emoji. But that's the goal, right? It's like we've done this already. We've made so many iterations of our scripts for the discovery call, from the evaluation to the plan of care, from the plan of care to the continued care. All of those things are dialed in. You literally just have to learn them and then implement them and then change a couple of things to fit your own needs. But here are the most common objections, right, that you're going to encounter. I want to check my insurance first. I have to talk to my spouse. It's too expensive. I need to check my finances. I have to think about it. I don't think it's the right time. I don't think I'll need that many sessions. And I need to finish up with my other provider first. These are all objections that you're going to encounter as you're starting to pitch and sell your plan of care. Your goal is to be able to understand that all of these things are smokescreens, right? Because at the end of the day, people don't necessarily care about these objections that they're giving you. They want to get to their North Star, which is pain-free, back to doing what they love. And all of these things are things that we have to help people navigate. And we'll show you exactly how we handle objections so that you can get people to actually get rid of these smoke screens and commit to working with you. So we teach you the principle of sales as well as the tactics that you can utilize to close. This is Mohib. Objection handling scripts. Stole a line off the real Brian Mark, and that sealed it. 250 in meta ads for $75 knee analysis and close at 3,200 plan of care, which technically becomes 3,520. But objection handling scripts, we literally have everything laid out for you for all of these scenarios to show the person, right, that yes, when they say something like it, I have to think about it. I have to think about it is a very broad thing to say, and it's usually a smokescreen. And one of the things that you always want to do is diffuse the situation. And then you might say something along the lines like, hey, I totally get that you have to think about it. But aside from that, I just want to make sure, do you feel like the plan that we laid out is going to get you back to doing what you love? Are you 100% confident that this plan will work out? Perfect. All right, so I know that you mentioned that you had to think about it, but I just want to make sure, like, I want to make this a home run for you. If there's something that you're thinking about that you need from us in order for you to move forward, I want to be able to provide that for you if that's something that our company can do. So I'm curious, what are you thinking about? And that's going to allow them to say something and start to isolate what the true objection is. And they might say something along the lines of like, oh, it's finance and this is XYZ. And that's when you start to handle the objection, right? The financial objection. It's like, totally get it. It's a huge investment in your health. And I want to make sure that, you're obviously comfortable moving forward. Just curious, what finances do you need to make work? Like, how much can you commit in a week cadence or a monthly cadence? And then from there, they're going to tell you something, and then you can create a payment plan from that. And all you'll simply say is, hey, if we can make this work financially, would you be open to committing and moving forward with us? If they say yes and you make it work financially, you ask for the sale again, and then boom, now you've got someone that pays. So all of these things are things that we help you triage and troubleshoot. And it's not just the scripts alone, but we have a weekly sales call where we're doing role play with everyone in the cohorts so that you can see how it's happening in live time. And yes, those things are very awkward, but it's better to be awkward with someone else that's not going to pay you a ton of money so that you can practice. And when the people are actually going to commit to working with you, you feel prepared for those people. And now from the operations perspective, if you can collect intakes, collect money, send super bills, create reminders, and deliver on a service, you're good. Go focus on marketing and sales. There are so many times people will continue to work on things operation-wise because they're afraid to do the marketing and sales. And our goal is to hold you accountable to marketing and sales because that's what's really going to generate the revenue once you've got all these things dialed in. Now, the main three hats that you'll be wearing are going to be marketing, sales, and fulfillment. And you won't have to do this forever. There are tons of different ways to market. One of the ways that we show you is DM setting. And again, people in the group will be like, I don't want to do this forever, right? Like, I don't want to send out this many DMs. It's okay. You won't have to. This is me, first month of having a virtual DM setter. Closed 9,300 in the month of July. Total comp for them, 1,800 plus $190. DM and did conversational marketing myself, then offloaded it to somebody else. You're not going to have to do these things forever, but when you're low on capital and high on time, go use that time until you don't have any more. This stuff works. Recently now, our DM setter has been doing an even better job and it's been closing over 20K per month. So all of these things work. You just have to do it first, streamline the process and offload it to someone else. And the good news is that there's so many people in the group that have done it now, and we can provide you with assistance and a system to scale very predictably. Now, here's the biggest mistake that we see people make. They're charging way too little money and not collecting upfront for a plan of care. And this is what it looks like. Entrepreneur number one, he gets 16 leads, and all those 16 leads, 8 of them book discovery calls. From those 8 discovery calls, he has 6 evaluations, and he converts 70% from discovery call to evaluation. Then he converts 4 plan of cares from the 6 evaluations, which is 66% conversion. If he does 12 sessions at $125 per session, which equals to $1,500, he has 4 plans of cares for $1,500. He ends the month at $6,000, and he's going to need 75% more leads to reach entrepreneur number two. So what's entrepreneur number two doing? He's got 16 leads, 8 discovery calls, 6 evaluations, and 4 plan of cares. The same exact metrics as entrepreneur number one. But entrepreneur number two charges 12 sessions at $225 per session, which equals to $2,700 for the package. And he ends the month with $10,800. So for the same amount of marketing, entrepreneur number two actually improves. He gets more revenue because he charges more. When you're charging too little, and this is the mistake that most people make when they're getting started, you need to generate a ton more leads, but also you're not actually making more than you would if you work for somebody else, because you have to take into account that you're paying hourly for the space that you're renting out of. You have to pay taxes and you have to pay software and other things in order to fulfill on your business. So the biggest mistake that we see is that people charge way too little. And you might be thinking to yourself, I don't know if anyone's going to be willing to pay any of these things, but people are willing to pay for pain and rehab. This is Chris. He joined our group. He said, today I had an first eval since starting the coaching program, and just sold the most expensive package that I've ever had. And it's easier to find fewer people who would pay more instead of more people who would pay less. Fewer people who would pay more instead of more people who would pay less. And these fewer people are actually more committed. They're more happy to, you're going to be more happy to work with them because they're not, they're your ideal avatar, right? They're people that really believe in what you do. And even referrals from your previous patients, right? So this is Chris. I was feeling anxious about a new eval coming in because she was referred to me by one of my founding clients. And I thought that she might expect old pricing. I raised my rates quite a bit since then. And well, just closed that eval with a plan of care for 4.7K. So people are paying for rehab services, and we've had people close packages well over 10K. So why you need to charge appropriately? You need to pay to learn. You're going to be getting better at your craft, taking continuing education courses. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay rent. You have to pay software. Eventually, you're going to be paying an admin team. We have someone that handles our sales. We have someone that handles all of the back-end operations, and we have someone that handles all of our DMs, and we have someone that manages all of our social media. You're going to have to pay for marketing eventually, and then you're also going to need to make enough so that you can support your clinicians. So in context, even if you have 20% operating expenses and 20% taxes, you're only going to get 60% of what you would make. If you charge 125 and you get only 60%, you get 75. If you charge 225 and you get 60%, you get 135. So these things do add up, which is why you need to charge appropriately. Now, all businesses usually have one problem, right? Sometimes they need more marketing, sometimes they need more sales. Let's give example number one. The person has 8 leads for the month. They schedule 6 discovery calls and they book 5 evaluations, which is an 83% conversion. Out of those 5 evaluations, they get 4 plans of cares, which is 80% conversions. Conversion here is amazing. They just don't have enough leads coming through the door. So our goal, right, in this context is to make sure that we dial in and give that person more marketing opportunities so that we can have more lead generation, because all of their sales and conversions are great. Now we have another person, they have 16 leads, 6 discovery calls from those 16 leads. Maybe they're doing a terrible job pitching at the workshops or injury screens. They have 3 evaluations from those 6 discovery calls, so 50% conversion there, and they only sell 1 plan of care. That's a 33% conversion. They can continue to really market, but they're going to end up burning themselves out because their conversion is terrible. So our goal is with this person is to sustain the marketing and then build their sales skills so that they can increase their conversions. And in the beginning, you need to optimize every marketing opportunity, right? So this is Andy Noel. I sent my wife just now. I sent my wife just now hits way harder than it feels. I was ready for 14.8K in a month so far, and we are just halfway. Hired an SDR yesterday. Andy's only able to do this because he's maximized every single opportunity. And we're going to talk about a story a little bit later. And we'll teach you to be amazing at sales so that you can do the same for others. So this is Vince, someone that's scaled beyond 10K. Finished the month with a new PR, 55K. Some big business news, converted 7 evals from a workshop and had a banger of a summer social event. Second PT schedule filling up. Finally consistent on social media with some delegation and destroy being served up. That's one of the things Vince has kind of come up with. Trainer, performance specialist, and trainer on the GGC sales process, and he's converting people from his lactic threshold and VO2 max testing sessions to personal training packages. Grateful for GGC giving me the tools and pearls, seeing the fruits of trusting the process and building systems. Sky's the limit, shooting for that 75K mark this year. Keep moving. So that's what happens, right? You get really good at marketing, you get prospective patients, book them for discovery calls. From the discovery calls, you schedule evaluations, dial in that eval process so that you can sell a full plan of care. You're not selling one session at a time, you're selling them an outcome. And an outcome can only occur if you work with someone for an extended period of time. After you work with someone for an extended period of time, if you're a performance-minded physical therapist, you can continue to work with them as they chase goals like running more marathons, doing high rocks. And throughout this process, you can always ask for a referral so that you can get more leads. Now, the biggest thing that will limit you from starting is your mindset. And some things that people say is I can never get good at marketing and sales. But I always like to bring up the point. You've done more difficult things. This is the brachial plexus. If you can memorize the brachial plexus in school and draw it out for an exam, you can memorize our sales scripts and get so good at role playing with them that you sound natural as you're doing your marketing and sales pitches. But why would anyone want to pay me to help them with rehab? This is another limiting mindset. They'll pay you more than you expected. This is Bryant, another mentee in the GGC group. Sold my first package, 20 sessions this Monday with our new rates. These are plans of cares that are over $5,000 and people are more than happy to pay for them because again, if you're delivering a product that no one else can get, an outcome that no one else can get in another clinic, you can charge your worth. You have to compete for value instead of price. And you can only compete for value when you are the only one within your local area that can scale rehab to high performance. And there's not a lot of physical therapists that can do that really, really well, as I'm sure you know. I feel bad not being able to improve access to those that can't afford it. And this is completely valid. But there's 3 things that we do. One, we treat some people pro bono. As we start to scale our practice, I always have a pro bono spot where if someone truly can't afford what we are offering, I'll work with them completely pro bono. They just have to be flexible and come in at certain times. We also donate a shit ton of money to charity, and we're even trying to build a school in Guatemala. And at the end of the day, you have to play the cards that you were dealt. The health insurance system is completely fucked, right? And it benefits nobody. People are doing things that are completely illegal within the healthcare system, and we've seen this happen now in the news constantly, right? With big corporations that are implementing AI, and we have whistleblowers saying how they denied people on purpose for care. So you just have to play the cards that you were dealt. This is the only way where you can work with patients one-on-one, give them the care that you need so that you don't personally burn out. Again, I'm not, blowing smoke. We are raising money and building a school in Guatemala. Now, things that you keep telling yourself to keep you from starting. I need to take more courses and get better at my craft. And that's valid if you suck at what you do. There aren't enough people where I live, so I can't do this model. We have everyone from small towns to big cities. The market is already crowded in my area. If a market is crowded, all that means is that there is a demand. And you want there to be a demand because if there's demand, the cream rises to the top. And I love competition, right? I love to show people that what we do at Moment is better than what they can get anywhere else in New York City. And then this is going to be really tough, without a doubt. But how's your current situation, right? How's seeing 4 to 8 patients within the same hour, taking home like 20 notes a day and spending your weekends on documentation and not feeling like you're actually living up to all of the things that you wanted to do when you graduated from school. You're literally just drowning in notes. If that's hard, why not pick something that's going to be tough, but at least reward you with the life that you want? And now my personal favorite is it's not the right time. And I talked about how Andy maximized all of his marketing events, but Andy was about to have a kid. His car broke down. He had bills to pay and more. I legitimately told him not to join, but he went against my advice anyway and joined. Andy said, first month back in business, I hit a little over 5K. Very excited to have some things I've learned already the last week and a half or so since joining. Had an eval reschedule on me, but I got that deposit, so that shit don't bother me like it used to. Got another eval tomorrow, and I know they'll show. Got a bunch of injury screens blocked off for the week. No one signed up yet, but going to keep posting about it. Let's get my first goal of 15K. Within a few days, 3,000 for the week and 5 more eval scheduled for the next week. And then obviously I showed you the text where he texted his wife, said that, you don't have to put any more money into the joint family account for bills. I've got it from here. Just keep paying down your card. So this is Andy, someone that took action, and now he's scaled already past 20K since starting in, I believe it was September when he first started. So he's been hitting consistent 10K months right after his first full month with GGC. And then he's hit 20K months now. So what do you get with GGC? First, you get our curriculum, right? We show you all the sales, marketing, objection handling, all that stuff. You get proven frameworks. Within those proven frameworks, there's scripts, there's emails, things that we've utilized and continuously updated as we're growing our practice. There's weekly sales calls. There's also weekly marketing calls. And then there's a Slack group so that you can always post, if you have any questions between those calls or even your small group coaching. When you join, you're going to be placed with people that are very similar revenue range as you. And then you can also attend our weekly marketing calls. But the most important thing is the coaching and reiterations, right? Because everything that we do, it's not, if it's perfect for you and it works completely within your language and your brand, your personality, awesome. But we'll show you how to tailor everything so that it feels authentic for yourself. Because at the end of the day, every business and every person is different. So we'll help you coach you through things and help you make better iterations. But you will fail and make mistakes. And the asterisk there is hopefully not all the same painful ones that we've made. Our goal is to coach you and help you learn from them. Now, there's a quote from Ramit Sethi. Most people never realize that 80% of the work is done before you step in a room. That's why they spend their entire lives grasping for magical tactics instead of changing their entire mindset. 80% of the room is done before 80% of the work is done before you step into the room. I want you to think about that, right? Because if you're going into a workshop, an injury screen, a marketing event, and you're not prepared to maximize on those events, you're going to fail. And you're going to say that these things don't work. But we know that it's possible, right? I've done it with myself and my wife. Peter's done it with his company, and we've now done it for over 50 practices. We've helped them launch and scale to 10K months easily, and we've had now people in the 80 to 90K months. These things work, and they're systematic and they're dialed in. And when they stop working, we'll continue to update these things like we do every single quarter. But we're mission driven. Our goal is to help physical therapists that currently feel burnt out in their current circumstances. Insurance care sometimes can be super, super draining. And I'm not saying that all insurance clinics are bad, but we know what it's like to work for someone and see 4 to 8 patients within an hour. And then you have mentorship, right? Or some meetings with the clinical director. And instead of talking about how to get patients better, all you talk about is productivity levels. And then sometimes you even lose your lunch, right? You'll have a front desk say, hey, can I book someone for your lunchtime? And all of these things scale up and you just get burnt out. And I know exactly what it's like because we've been through there and people in our group have been through the same exact thing. And our goal is to give agency back to the physical therapists, help them build a practice of their dreams so that they can build the life of their dreams without losing their mind, without losing their health, and honestly, just having more fun again. I just want you to remember that you have agency. And having agency just means having the power and ability to make your own choices and decisions and to act on them. Low agency is when life happens to you, and this is what your life is like. It starts to shrink when you're always thinking, life happens to me, why this, and you victimize yourself. You have low agency. Our goal is helping you happen to life, and that's when your life starts to expand. Regardless of your circumstances and what's happening to you, how can you react in a way that's going to put you in a better position tomorrow, put you in a better position in the next hour, right? And that's the goal, showing you exactly how to troubleshoot everything that you're going to encounter so that you can become more resilient. Now, if you're ready to launch and scale a cash based practice, all you have to do is click the link below to schedule a strategy call. And again, with this strategy call, we'll give you a quick overview of what the program looks like. We'll answer any questions that you may have, but we just ask that you don't book a strategy call unless you're committed and motivated to actually launching and scaling a cash based practice. Appreciate y'all.